Flint, Billy, and Madi attempt to bolster their ranks for the assault on Nassau. It doesn't really work out too well for them. Also, remember that pirate-looking guy that grabbed silver out of the wreckage? Yeah, well, he is a pirate, but not really on Silver's side. Or anyone's, for that matter, except his own. It's Black Sails, Season 4, Episode 2, 30. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Black Sails. So, as usual, we are entering spoiler territory, so you have been warned. Alright, so another great episode, moving things forward through this season. A lot of reassessment of goals, switching tactics, changing directions going on in this episode. Must adapt to the world that we live in, and that's exactly what everyone here is dealing with, since things didn't go exactly according to plan for the initial assault as we saw last week. For Flint, Billy, and Madi, of course, that means trying to bolster their ranks. They don't have enough forces, so they go inland, assaulting one of the plantations, hoping to grab some of the slaves there, use that to modify their numbers there. But unfortunately, because of the battle over on the island previously, all the plantation owners have been sort of made aware this is a possibility. They could be coming to take some more slaves. The team up could be working. So they've made a real nasty move. They have separated all of the families, switched them, moved them all around the various plantations on the island. So now if any group revolts, any and all of their loved ones, wives, families, kids, they will suffer. So that pretty much stops any recruitment tactics right there, and that puts Flint and Billy kind of really head to head. It's been building up, and that really doesn't work out too well for them. Now they have even less numbers. Meanwhile, we've got, of course, Eleanor giving Woods the good news that she's got some very rich family up in Boston, could help him out his financial constraints, but no chance of heading out there when Teach has the whole bay blocked off with the Queen Anne's Revenge there. So they're going to have to make some moves there too. Separate and see if they can draw Teach out, and maybe if Woods heads out there, Teach will follow. Give Eleanor a chance to get out. Now that causes a couple of problems. One, of course, with them con, that leaves Berringer in charge. And he and Max especially aren't doing too well. Berringer is, while loyal, very cruel, and they're already hanging pirates, or prepping to hang pirates. So that is just going to make a situation probably a little bit more untenable. Also, what is the cost of revenge? Something that Rackham and Teach and even Anne get to discussing. And then, of course, finally we have Silver there with the new pirate who is not really a friend and looking to maybe make some coin off of Silver's name and body. So, great episode. Like I said, lots of things moving forward. Now, one thing, there was a lot going on in this episode, which I really loved, is there were some beautiful stare downs. I mean, it really started off with Anne and Blackbeard up on the Queen Anne's Revenge on the deck there. That little stare back and forth where he's giving direction saying, yeah, we should go in the west, and she's, no, the west doesn't have any good entrances. That little moment, you can really feel that tension, the two of those kind of warriors going just right at it. I mean, Teach is a huge burly man, but Anne is quite a skillful and wicked sword fighter. So the two of them going after each other, I don't know, would be scary, but something I'd also want to see too, just to see how that would sort of work out. But that was just the beginning. We also had, of course, Max and Berringer having their kind of little stare down, a little tete-a-tete, where Max, Berringer's trying to get all of the pirates, all the info that he can, knows that Max is holding things back. However, Max is putting down with a great little reply too about civilization. Hey, I've given people my word, people have given me their words, and if we're just going to toss that out, what's the point of civilization that we are fighting for? So, great moment there. Then of course we had Max and Silver going at it there at the very end, where Silver is trying to use his positioning and his persona that has been weaved out, and his importance to get Max back on their side. Hey, you're supposed to be with us. You're going to need us when we are back. But Max isn't having any of that, really throwing it back in his face about being tired of it. So a lot of strength going back and forth. And many of that really also started off with that moment between Flint and Madi there. As we saw last week, of course, Flint was trying to use the treasure over Billy's head, that only he's the only one that knows where the treasure is, where Madi steps forward and says, hey, maybe Silver's dead, maybe he's alive, I don't know, but I also know what's going on, I know where everything is. So she's really inserting herself in that. And I think we had a great moment between Flint and Madi there, where Flint is, putting out, and quite honestly, maybe you know where the treasure is, maybe you don't. Maybe you were just taking advantage of a situation to put yourself out there. And I thought Madi had the perfect response for him of like, you're right, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. She doesn't confirm either way the truth of it, but she does effectively point out to him that Billy and Flint, they've got a lot of tension between them, which really plays forward again throughout the rest of this episode at that moment there in the plantation. But this is just the latest, I won't even say the first sign, but the latest sign of that the two of them were about to go. The men are following Billy. Billy has been the one on the island. He has really been to it. Flint has always been sort of a demonized captain character anywhere, where Billy has always been part of the crew. So now, after all of this time on the island, running the pirates, he's gained their respect. So Flint running right in and playing the captain, looking at Billy immediately as subordinate, really is not helping the situation. So, again, Madi rightfully identified that very quickly and said, hey, if I didn't step in, this would have gotten even worse. And in fact, really only delays the inevitable, because that same tension is, of course, what happens there on the plantation, where Flint rightfully says, look, we got to step back. Before Flint was being a little more emotional and Billy was being practical, and here they kind of reversed their situations. Because as Madi pointed out, these slaves aren't going to revolt. They're not going to take that chance. The only way they can do that is if it all happens at once, and the only reason it's all going to happen at once is if they get a sign at the same time. The only sign they're all going to accept is if the pirates take Nassau. So they can't bolster their ranks for the assault on Nassau until they've actually defeated Nassau. So it kind of puts them in a pickle, and Flint sees that immediately, that this is not a situation that's going to be tenable. Billy, of course, sick and tired of Flint, and that's what led to that big moment of tension. And I have to say, I was really, really surprised that Billy yelled fire. I do like the timing of it, because he wasn't even letting Flint finish before he just yelled it out. He did try to take that moment of surprise. But one, if he had shot Madi, that would have been really bad. And those types of crowds, you can't really control that. But two, it was just, now your numbers are reduced. I love that Flint was able to beat Billy down, which was tough because Billy's, like I said, he's huge. And the fight there, even in the assault on the plantation initially, beautifully well done, but also beautifully choreographed in seeing how Billy's size really can just sweep people away. Flint much more skillful, though, with his use, which is why he was able to overcome Billy at that moment. But instead of taking extra moments and getting as much supplies as you can before the militia got there, that took up all of their time, reduced their numbers, and now they're all fleeing off into the woods. And who knows what that meetup is going to be like. Because Flint is not easy one to forgive, and Billy is certainly not really ready to ask him for it. So, a lot of tension going on in the episode, a lot of people hitting heads to head, and of course, that was pretty much the one that went really, really downhill. Now, I've mentioned several times the cinematography and the beautiful shots they make in this show. And there were many in this episode, but the ones that really stood out, I had to rewind and rewatch a couple of times. The scene with Anne on the deck of the boat late at night, just before they find out that Woods' ship is preparing, where she has a big talk with Jack about going after Max. The the lighting on that was just beautiful. It was perfect shadowing down. And of course, you're really seeing a lot of the beauty of Anne. Normally, she's very ratty. She's really tied up. They've kind of cleaned her up a little bit more as time goes on. But this even particular shot, like I said, with just the shadow kind of half casting down, you see just a little glint of light off of her eye. And her hair was just glowing red. Anyway, just a beautiful bit of cinematography there, beautifully framed, really kind of sets up the dichotomy of her character, the light and the dark, and especially in that moment where she's speaking with Max about the price of revenge, that how much that she wants to go after Max, how much she blames Max, the promises that Max had about trading the treasure for Jack, and then Vane getting caught, and then her wanting to take her away, just all of those moments, and then also realizing that that's not really something that she wants to do, that she didn't want to live with herself afterwards. And it's continuing, again, more of the discussion that started last week at the end, where Anne was asking Jack the same thing. Why are you looking for redemption from a dead man? Why are you looking for that approval? And then, of course, we have Jack carrying that statement and that question back with Teach in that wonderful story moment between the two of them, also again beautifully shot, which really just brings that question up, is what is it that you were looking for? What is it that you're trying to find in meaning? And even the story that Teach had told about trying to find meaning in this visage of this beautiful bird coming down in the sun, and he sees meaning and he asks Vane what it means, and he says lunch. Or dinner, food, either way. You have the practicality and the sentimental, and those two moments kind of waging with each other, and that sort of realization of what is it that you're really after? What is the actual goal that you want? And is it willing to sacrifice those goals in order to get something as empty as revenge? And even on top of that, with the person you're trying to get revenge for even wants you to do it. So again, very poignant questions, but very well done, very well spoken, and again, beautifully shot. Wonderful camera work. And then, of course, we've got Silver and his captor, who maybe you're hoping, I was certainly hoping, oh, he looks like a pirate, he's going to be on his side, but of course, that didn't totally feel safe. And certainly when Silver wakes up with his hands cuffed above his head, that's definitely not safe. No, because he is in the hands of, well, Israel hands, as we come to find out. Now, Israel's kind of a fun character, because he is both an actual pirate and a literary pirate. Actual pirate, yes, was actually under the command of Blackbeard, was actually shot by Blackbeard and permanently wounded. However, historically, I believe he was shot in the leg, not in the eye. Also, it is suspected that he was possibly shot in order to save his life. That was in 1718. As part of the crew where Teach shot Israel when asked why. He replied, well, if you don't shoot one of them sometimes, people will stop respecting you. Probably not in a Texas accent. But it wasn't long afterwards, just later on that same year, where Teach was killed in an assault. So possibility that he might have shot Israel in order to keep him out of that particular battle. However, Israel does survive the later pirate purge, testifies against, in North Carolina, against some of the local public officials that had worked with Teach, and then disappears off from history. So, actual pirate, actually with Teach, and again, literary pilot, because there is an Israel hands in Treasure Island. He is shot and killed by young Jim Hawkins. Now, there is no mention at that point that he is part of Blackbeard's crew. It is said he is part of Flint's crew. However, the fact that we do have kind of a character existing in both worlds, I think is really kind of fun and gets to sort of stretch things out. Our guess here, of course, is that eventually he is going to side up with Silver, and that doesn't really take too long through this episode. Great moments between him and Silver. You really get to see a lot of Silver's character as he questions Israel, remembers who he is, digs in with Teach, finds out his positioning, and then, of course, uses that against him. Fuck Teach. as he says. And the whole just, again, Silver living, just growing into this legendary character that has been described, and now he was stepping it in. I am the man that causes grown men to lay awake at night. Just beautiful stuff. And really, I think it eventually works out because there is that attempted sale for Max, which doesn't really go so well for Max, especially when she tries, and really because she tries to kill Israel Hands. If she had just paid him, it probably would have been just all right. But no, she sends her guys to try and just kill Israel and take Silver by force, and they open up. The first tale is pretty much all about what a gruesome and effective fighter that Israel Hands is, and he definitely proves that, wiping them off, but getting his life saved by Silver at the end. So we've got Max riding off, looking back, seeing what a horrible, horrible mistake she has just made. Really, her one chance to get back into Silver's graces. Silver is not one that is going to forgive easily. And now that he has saved Israel Hands' life, I believe he has another ally that will help lead him back and probably be the way that he is going to gather all the pirate forces, even though Billy and Flint are against. So this is, I think, actually going to all play appropriately together by the time we get into the next episode or two, however long it takes them to get all back together. Quick shout out to Jill DS. Wonderful comments. You guys really should check out the comments section from last week's. Jill went into a wonderful dive into history, into navigation. Great call on Max. You got it perfectly. The deal with Featherstone, as we saw confirmed today, Featherstone was trying to feed information and Max was just letting it all play out, and she's the one that intercepted. So no, Featherstone did not betray the pirates. Max did. And Jill, you spotted that out, and like I said, just a wonderful deep dive into navigation of the Atlantic. So I gotta give my heads off. I've been thinking about that all week, and that was awesome. All right, so I think that's gonna wrap things up for us for this week. Now, if, like Rackham and Teach, you too are missing your Captain Vane, you can catch him over on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mentioned it last week. He will be on for at least the next few weeks. He's playing the Superior, very imposing, very charismatic, very throaty voiced, perfect. He's also over on the CW on the 100. He's playing a little side character there. So if you need your dose of Zach McGowan, those are the places you can check him out. All right, but if you like this review, you can hit that like button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thoughts, ideas, comments, where do you think things are going? Where do you think the next steps are? Throw those down in the comments section below. I've been having some wonderful conversations with you guys, and you can deep dive into information that I can't always grab onto. So I really appreciate it, and I greatly enjoy it. So please throw your thoughts and ideas down there. Now, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes right there. Upcoming things, yes, we've got Black Sails, we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but also this Wednesday we have Legion over on FX. It is a Marvel TV show about a very, well, not a huge Marvel character, but a very interesting one, and looks like the storytelling on this is going to be fabulous. So I'm going to be doing reviews off of that. That is Wednesday night, so reviews will be out on Thursday. Also, next week from now, The Walking Dead returns, second half of season 7. So we've got Rick in the game starting the revolt against Negan and the Savior. So that'll be really exciting. That's going to start up next week. So lots of stuff happening. And you won't miss any of it if you're a subscriber. If you're not, hit my little face right there. You can come back every week, check out everything we have, and I'm going to throw up latest review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right there. You can check that out. All right, so I'm D, and I am out of here. You guys take it easy. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.